Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is on how to make this beautiful BUBU gown, and if you're interested in learning this, please keep watching this video. Over here I folded my fabric into 4 by using my hip circumference divided by 4 and adding about 5 inches to that. Right now I'm marking the full length of my gown, which is 39 inches plus 1 inch as my hemming allowance, which makes it 40 inches. I'm done marking the full length of my dress, and I'll be taking my measurements from the folded part of my fabric. As you can see, I'll be taking the measurements from the folded part of my fabric, and I'm using 3 inches for my neck width and 1 inch for my neck depth. I'll be cutting the back and the front piece together, and whatsoever I have left will be my sleeve, which is 13.5 inches. Is what I'll be using for my sleeve length. Now on that point, I'll mark downwards. I'll mark 10 inches downwards for my sleeve opening. I will also mark my shoulder to my hip line, which is 27 inches. And I'll be drawing a straight line on that point where I have my 27 inches from the shoulder to the hip line. And of course on the hip line, I will mark my hip circumference divided by 4, which is 10 inches, and I'll be adding 4 inches as for my ease and then 1 inch as sewing allowance. So altogether I have about 15 inches. I have 10 inches as my hip circumference divided by 4, 4 inches for ease and 1 inch for the sewing allowance, and I connected it to the end of the dress and also connected it to the armhole. So guys, I'm done drafting and I'll be cutting out this pattern, but also note that I'll be marking out the front neck depth later in the video. So guys, over here I decided to make the shoulder line a little slant by just going down by half of an inch at the sleeve end, and also increasing the neck depth by just half of an inch. Since I'm working with my fabric, I added half of an inch to the back neck depth, and also made a little shoulder slant. So now I'll go ahead and finish up the cutting for this pattern. Right now I'm done cutting and making notches at the center. I have 2 pieces here, and one will serve as the front piece and the second will serve as the back piece. So I'm just separating them so as to work with just one piece, which will serve as the front piece for my dress. I'm keeping this aside. That is my back piece, and I'll be working with this to serve as my front piece. Now I'll be extending the neck depth by 9 inches. That is starting from my starting line. My new neck depth for the front piece will be 9 inches. But if you're taking it from what you've cut already, you will go down by 7.5 inches. So if you don't understand taking 9 inches from the starting line, you can just simply go down by 7.5 inches for your front neck depth, and also mark 1 inch inwards on that point and connect it to the neck width. You mark 1 inch inwards and connect it to the neck width. And there you have it, your front neckline. When you open it up, this is what it will look like. But don't worry, we are still working on the pattern, we're still working on the dress. The next stage is to join the shoulder line by placing your pattern right side facing right side and sewing at 1/2 inch. After sewing, turn it over to the right side and you can go ahead to cut out a plain fabric of about 2 inches on fold. What I have here is 2 inches on fold, which means if you open it up, you'll have 4 inches, and for the length I have 34 inches. So I'm placing my black fabric on the neckline, starting from the front neckline all the way to the back neckline and then to the other side of the front neckline. Please note, before cutting out the black piece for the neckline, you have to take the measurement round your neckline. After joining the shoulder line, make sure you take the measurement round your neckline. This will enable you know the length of your black piece. I'm done using my pin to put it in place and cutting out the excesses. I'll head over to my sewing machine and sew at 1/2 inch. Put in the black piece in and iron. But before I head over to my sewing machine, let's work on the sleeve end. I'll be adding the black fabric to the ends of my sleeve. I went ahead to open it up and took the measurement from the front sleeve to the back sleeve. So what I got was 18 inches and I have 2 black pieces here, one for the left side and the other for the right side. The length of this piece is 22 inches and it is 3.5 inches wide, which means if you open it up you will have 7 inches. And I have 3.5 inches on fold, which means if I open it up I'll be having 7 inches. Yes, I'll be having 7 inches, but on fold is 3.5 inches. Now, as you can see, I'm placing the right side of the black piece to the wrong side of my pattern, and I'll be using these parts to cover it up like this and sew. So I'll be sewing the first part 1/2 inch and I will use this other side to cover it up. I'm done sewing this part. So at this point I'm done sewing the sleeve end and also the neckline, and you can see how beautiful the front neckline is. If you have any excesses at the sleeve end, just cut it out. You can just cut it out if you have any excesses. Now, to make your front neck depth sit properly, you just have to make notches around the ends of that front neckline. Just make a little notch so that that part will be relaxed on your neckline. I'm just cutting out the excesses I have on the other sleeve. So guys, for this other big piece, you can cut out 12 by 12 inches. So I have a perfect square here, which is 12 by 12. All sides are 12 inches. And I'll fold in half of an inch and iron. I'll fold in ½ inch and iron. And on this other end here, I'll go up by 3½ inches and mark, and also do the same on the other side. Fold in and iron. This is just a little design for this piece. I'm marking the midpoint so as to align with my neckline. As you can see, please make sure you mark the midpoint to align with your neckline. Although you can do this differently, you can take it to the left side. You can also take it to the right side depending on what you're trying to recreate. But for this pattern, I'll be placing it at the middle. Fold in ½ of an inch and iron. Just iron the 4 sides. So over here I'm done ironing, and I had to pin it down to keep it in place. I'm going to go ahead now and sew this to my front pattern. I'll sew along the edges of this black piece and also join the sides using 1 inch sewing allowance I gave earlier. Before sewing that part, make sure you open it up like this so that you don't sew the front and the back piece together. Please don't make the mistake of sewing the back piece and the front piece together. You have to open it up like this. Use your pin to put it in place and then sew round this particular piece. So guys, after sewing this big piece here on the front side, I went ahead to join the sides by 1 inch. Join the side by 1 inch using the sewing allowance I gave earlier, and also hemming the end of my dress. And that will be all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.